What do you see when you look at love and mimetic desire and think about how those two come together?
Love is the highest manifestation of desire. It's kind of like the end goal of desire. I mean, love is, in a way, you could almost say that love is just another word for desire. We do what we want, or we do what we love. You could almost think of addiction like that. Like if you're like addicted to a certain kind of drug, in one sense, you could say that like you love that, or at one point you just loved it in a certain sense more than you loved the alternative. So I think there's a deep connection between desire and love, and in a human relationship, love is mimetic. Like we know, like when we are deeply loved, we tend to open ourselves up and love others, and vice versa. So love is like I've been stressing this whole podcast that mimetic desire can be a very positive thing, and in a relationship between two partners, between a married couple, love is mimetic, and at its best, that we want the love that we have with another person to be fueled by mimesis in the most positive sense of the word, almost like outdoing one another in love, and that's something that's where mimetic desire like never will not have like a bad ending, right? It's kind of like an infinite loop of mimetic love, and I look at just little ways that like I incorporate that into my life with my fiance, soon to be wife, in 3 weeks. Like, we try to, we cook each other like dinner, usually, a couple of nights a week. And it's kind of like a mimetic, game of love that we have with each other. And, we look at like other little things that we can do to incorporate that. And, one way too to think of it is like casting that first stone of love, as we talked about earlier, is also mimetic. So rather than the instinctual response to, you're unkind to me, or say an unkind word, so I respond back. That's our instinctual response. Like when we get a passive aggressive email or something like that, we want to respond in kind. But like flipping that cycle, it's almost like flipping a switch. And love to me means making a self gift, means like making a gift of myself. And I think if we did that, right? I know Lex Friedman is super interested in it. He talks about love all the time. And I think if we did that, and we found a way to encourage and incentivize that, then that could become mimetic. And I think we have to figure that out as a species. Because if one of the things I was thinking when I made that tweet is like, we can talk about this stuff all day long, but like I'm interested in behaviors and changed behaviors, and not just an intellectual discussion, because unless there are changed behaviors, and unless mimetic desire is used as a force for good, then we're in trouble. Yeah, definitely check out the conversation with Lex and Dan Schmachtenberger, and check out the one with Brett Weinstein that he just had if you're interested in love and kind of like its application, which mimetic desire sounds like it's going to be a huge part of the practical application for love. Brett Weinstein talks about the fourth frontier and how everything up to this point with after the technological boom has been focused on growth, and so most things are profit driven, growth driven, and we want to grow, but our society also relies on growth, and that if we are to get past this point, if we're going to continue to evolve as a species, Brett argues that we need to get to a point where we want to grow, but we don't rely on growth, that profit isn't the underlying function of society, that we care about beauty, compassion, and having purpose. And even if we're not growing, we won't compromise that in order to like continue that capitalistic growth trajectory. Not that all capitalism is bad or anything like that, just that like we're at a point where everything is so growth driven, and if something's not growing, then there's a problem, and that has to be the focus. And so mimetic desire
and love seem like it has to be part of that fourth frontier if we ever do get to it, where people are doing loving acts and sending signals across the planet that love is something that I care about and I want it, and I want to act this way towards other people, and I care about things like beauty and long-term fulfillment and acting in a loving way towards people, and that is something I value. And if enough people do that, then that kind of flips the momentum to where maybe people are willing to not grow in order to grow financially in order to grow lovingly, where there's a point we can get to where we don't necessarily rely on the constant growth of society.
I agree. And, I think Peter Thiel would sort of argue, and this is that a lot of people are arguing that, like, unless we just continue to grow at a certain rate, then we're in trouble, because without growth, like, everybody will just like turn on each other basically, and we'll just be competing for scarce resources. So we have to constantly be creating. So there's like this engine that we have to keep fueling. And I think that it's fine to do that, but I don't think we should be reliant on that. Like totally reliant on it, because then we sort of become a slave to a certain kind of a system. So I think we do have to find a better way. I mean, one way to think about it is like, what's the difference between wealth and money? They're not the same thing, even though people equate them. Like if I have, like, for me personally, if I have a loving family and a home and safety, like, I am wealthy. Like that's my wealth. Like the only reason that I seek like more and more and more is probably due to mimetic desire. Yeah. Like the unhealthy kind of mimetic desire. Like, why do I need a certain amount of money in my bank account? So we're going to have to like flip some kind of a, there's got to be a flippening, and it's going to have to happen at some point, or else we're going to continue this kind of like never ending, like infinite game. And like, when are we going to be like happy and want what we have, in a sense? Like, wanting what we have is probably the way that I would put it. And there are certain things that we have that we don't desire, and we need to learn how to desire.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. As a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full uncut 2+ hour episodes of the AUXORO podcast, plus gain access to 2 bonus episodes every month at auxoro.supercast.tech. Link is also in the description. Thank you so much for supporting quality content from independent creators like myself. Cheers.